Should we connect all these together? I'll see why the fuck not. Say this later, because you're about to get mind fucked. Starting off easy with your boy Nicky T, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. This was confirmed when they discovered the observer effect. Anyway, it does the double slit experiment. For me, it's not about the quantity of the slits, or about the quality. So the double slit experiment is they fired a light source at 2 slits, and then these 2 slits, they bounced off of each other when they weren't watching it, and it created this pattern here. But then something weird happened. Because they couldn't figure out why it created this interference pattern, they decided to observe it. Lo and behold, observing the experiment created the 2 lines, essentially meaning when you're watching it, that it's localized, and when you're not looking, it's just a wave spread over space-time. And this is Max Planck. We've covered him before, and if you're new here, he's widely considered the father of quantum theory. He said that everything that's derived as matter comes from consciousness. So basically everything is outwardly projected from consciousness, and if you're into metaphysics, you'll know that Walter Russell says that everything from consciousness comes from light, and that we're constantly fluctuating between various hues of light. So far we've got Nikola Tesla, Max Planck, and Walter Russell. But you know who else said everything was made of light? Here's a reminder to save this for later and open your mind just a little bit more, please. God did. In every religion. And you know what white light's made up of? All of the colors. If you're into the mystical mumbo jumbo, this is also considered your aura. Here are the different bodies that you have associated with each color of the rainbow. Now going back to everything being a projection of light, we know the universe operates like this. So it's not just about light. Is it about dark? No, you're wrong. Christianity says the word was God. Hindus think Om is the sound of the universe. And would you look at that? Om, Amen, Ameen. Hindus, Christians, Muslims, all singing from the same hymn sheet. Sadhguru is a total G, by the way. So you have the duality of light and sound, which creates the reality around us, which we interact with. And everyone talks about Tesla's obsession with 3, 6, and 9. I'm going to give you a completely neutral perspective. Are you ready? Now, everyone thinks that 9 is the top consciousness. Everything is the 9. 3 is the 3D realm that we live in. And then everyone's like, oh, what do we do with 6? I'm going to fucking tell you, watch. 6 is the transformation level of consciousness. Now, if you're familiar with Billy Carson, you'll know Thoth. And if you know Thoth the Atlantean, you'll know the Flower of Life. And if you saw the Atlantis video on my profile, you'll know that this is this. And that it's made up of all of this. Different hues of light are associated with different layers of reality. Now, there is just one word here, but every single layer of reality has its own sort of realm that you operate in. In Vedic Hinduism, it's divided into 14 realms. And you know what else needs double-digit dimensions? Fucking string theory. That says there needs to be at least 11 or 12. How the fuck are we doing all that? Let me tell you, if you haven't already, save this. So we're basically traveling through 14 different realms, through string theory in a light matrix. And the light is made up of various different emotions and experiences that you get to choose how you want to react to them. The lower you are, the lower your vibe. And the higher you are, the easier it is to make heaven on earth. Because you're in a place of oneness, love, and gratitude. But when you realize everything is light, there's also the element of dark, not just light and sound. Remember, because if there's light, there has to be dark. Because everything stems from consciousness. This is Carl Jung's idea of how the self works. So you have your ego, you have your shadow, and then you have the self, but you also have external factors such as consciousness, unconscious, collective unconscious, and all of these are constantly influencing your reality. This is creating all the strings and fabrics of your universe. All of these influences and judgments are constantly affecting this, and you're moving up and down this. But because everything's a projection from within, we're taking signals from all of this in the format of light and sound. The body is then processing that light and sound to release hormones, chemicals, and thoughts, further perpetuating this cycle of reality. Now, people think that you need to defeat your shadow, but that's actually really wrong. I'm going to show you one picture on screen, then you want to go watch the video that explains the picture. This is all you must do. Accept your shadow, love it for who it is. All it's wanting to do is be loved so that you can express your true self. That's realizing that each one of these layers that represent you is interacting with reality in a completely separate and individual way, but is constantly influencing this through thought, chemicals, neurotransmitters, your gut biome. Because everything that's real has a vibration of either light or sound that gives it matter, and then everything that you consume, how you have intention with it, what you think of it, that all determines where you will fall here. And pure Tao is essentially enlightenment. Enlightenment is authenticity, being yourself and unapologetically living in gratitude, living in love, not really having any judgments. That's what life's about. And if you want to go down the mystical route, there's layers to creation, and you can unlock each body, and that's done through celibacy, that's done through vegetarianism, that's done through the science of pranayama, which is essentially breath work. Because when this is the masculine and the feminine, the dormant feminine energy that lives within everybody, essentially the Kundalini is what we call it in Vedic culture. It has a profound effect on the body, and it's not for everybody straight away, because you have to be secure and rooted in who you are, so financially stable, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So if you try to do this and your body is out of sync, you're going to fuck yourself up big time. Let's say if you open your Kundalini and you're down here, This is where the snake god Vasuki lives. He's essentially in charge of all of the snaky stuff that goes on in the universe. He's not evil, he's not nefarious, he just has a function to serve in the universe. If you remember Thoth and the Emerald Tablets, there's a video pinned on my profile, you'll understand that everything is connected through the divine law of oneness. Because everything is connected and direct reflection of you, you have to understand that everything is a projection of your internal reality. So if you feel like shit, you're going to treat people like shit. But how the fuck do you know that's the case? Because we are the receiver between 9 and 3, so we are transmuting 6. And when you understand 6, you'll put a projection out as 6, but the universe will reflect it back to you as 9. That's how it works. We're a transmitter and a receiver, and our mind is an antenna inside a light matrix which is coming from pure consciousness, and these are the layers of consciousness. And actually dealing with it is easier than you think. You just need to have a good diet, sleep well, conversate in a positive way, don't chat shit about anybody, just try to be a good person. Ultimately, the whole idea behind it is so you can find a sense of security, and you're only going to find sense of security when you realize that everybody isn't as bad as they seem. And that's ultimately it. Everything is light and sound. You can control what light and sound influences you, and you can think about whether or not you want it to have a better or worse impact. And that's ultimately the truth. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments. If you did watch this, it's a 6.5, 7-minute video that took me ages to make, so please share it. Just do something, leave some gratitude, ask questions. I just want a lot of people to see this because it'll connect a lot of dots. And yeah, thank you very much for your time. Love and light to all. Peace.